big challenge for me when facilitating is I encounter difficult personalities sometimes.
There are times when we have people who can be potentially problematic, but I say potentially because there are ways to manage them. An effective facilitator knows why they behave the way they do and how to actually respond to them positively.
How do you feel about being part of the Fish Forever campaign in your community?
Being part of the Fish Forever campaign makes me feel proud because I can help people realize the value of working together.
Yes, I
and
think the
helping them
program is
protect our
really
marine
good. Like there's a
resources.
lot of activities and fun. It's just so wonderful, you know? Hi, I'm Chadi Chandra and I love chatting with my friends, my family, my neighbors, my workmates, fish vendors, everyone, just everyone. Like yesterday, you know, my neighbor, he called me and
That's the chatterbox. First, take into account that some people really need to think out loud to be able to understand things better. Only intervene if you suspect that the behavior is actually disruptive to others. Let's see how our friend Jappy deals with the chatterbox.
Yes, Chandra, you'd like to share your ideas with everybody?
I was just sharing my ideas with her and that I totally agree with him. I think Fish Forever has encouraged everyone to be more involved in the activities.
That's a great idea, but I encourage everyone to share your ideas with the group.
When Jappy noticed that the chatterbox was being disruptive to the other people in the group, especially to those seated next to her, he politely invited her to join the group and share her thoughts with them. He made the chatterbox feel that her ideas are still valued, but at the same time gently enforcing a basic principle in productive discussion that when one person talks, everyone else should listen.
I also saw that Jappy encouraged other group members to contribute by sharing their ideas.
That's a good observation, Andrew. Jappy ensured that no single person dominated the discussion. When you encounter a chatterbox, avoid being personally offended and trying to keep them quiet by exerting your authority.
Can you please keep quiet?
Another challenging situation I find myself in when I'm facilitating discussions is when there's people who hardly ever speak.
How can we make this program more inclusive and more exciting?
Let's request for the participation of the women's group in our communities.
Ah, yes, we can tap some of our savings clubs to lead some of these activities.
That's a good idea.
That's the silent type.
Okay, so these silent types, sometimes you just don't really know what to make of them. How do you deal with them?
Silent types can be mysterious, but we just have to remember that even if they don't say much, it doesn't mean they're not listening.
So Simon, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Great. How's your first week with the team?
I'm okay. I'm still adjusting.
That's understandable. So how do you find our discussion in our implementation plan?
I think it's good. Everyone has their own ideas. I wonder if there's a way we can ask help from volunteer or other provincial partners.
Do you want to spend a few minutes after the break to share your ideas with the team?
Sure.
So during the coffee break, Jappy talked to the silent type to get to know him better and ask him what he thought about the discussion. He learned that the silent type was actually paying close attention to the discussion and that he had really great ideas.
And the silent type even agreed to share his ideas after the break. One thing facilitators should avoid is forcing silent types to participate at any cost.
How about you, Simon? You've been very quiet. Do you have any useful ideas there?
Have you ever encountered a know-all?
A know-all?
Okay, now we are in the process of identifying the different water use zone in our coastal waters. We are going to do this step by step, and I invite everyone to participate.
I think we should put the navigation lines here. The Maritime and the Coast Guard are responsible for this. And they are also responsible for the tourism zone, so they should be far away from the conservation and the sanctuary. The mariculture zone is here.
That's the know-all.
Hi, I'm Norman Know-It-All. I know a lot of things. Everything, actually. I only have one dream, and that is to shine.
Ah, the know-all. I've met many of them. They always want to be recognized as the most knowledgeable or the most experienced in the group.
Great inputs, Norman. So what you're saying is we need a navigational zone, a tourism zone, a conservation zone, and a mariculture zone. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, before we move on to the identification of the proposed zone, I encourage everyone to participate so we'll have a well-informed output.
First, he acknowledged the know-all's ideas and paraphrased his key points, and then he invited the others to share too.
That's a great observation. Jappy made sure that the know-all doesn't dominate the conversation, and he also makes sure that everyone gets to share their ideas. When you have a know-all in the room that's actually really hampering the group's progress, maybe you can find time during breaks to talk to him and try to find a satisfactory solution. Never belittle him or isolate him from the group. Remember, we want him to be an ally, not an enemy.
Okay, Norman, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Can we give others a chance to speak?
There's another challenging type of person I meet too at the workshops, and they're the slow learners.
Oh, are we starting?
Yes, ma'am.
The camera is rolling. Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Sylvia Slomo. Wait, I didn't get it. What do I do again?
What's an effective way to deal with the slow learners?
Well, oftentimes they just don't have the same prior knowledge as the other participants, so sometimes their progress is a little slower, especially during practical exercises.
You're doing great, guys. Remember, the objective of the activity is to test the assessment tool. It's okay if you don't finish this within the session. How are we doing, Sylvia?
I'm having a really hard time with this second section of the assessment.
Okay, tell me about it.
Well, the first section was easy because I was involved in this activity, but I just can't figure out what to do with the next part.
Oh yes, the first section is perfect. And I can see you already started the second section. And the way you align their inputs with the site profile, that's good. Skip the parts that you don't have information.
Okay, first, Jappy made it clear that the output of the workshop doesn't need to be finished or perfect. What really matters is that the participants get to practice and learn.
That's right. Jappy created a safe environment for the participants to perform their task and to have the confidence to not be afraid to fail.
Jappy also approached the participant because he saw she was having trouble and he wanted to ask her which part was most difficult.
And did you see how Jappy provided feedback?
He started talking with the participant to give her feedback and let her know what she was doing right and also some of the things that she could improve on.
Jappy highlighted the strengths of the slow learner and motivated her to use what was working to make more progress. When you notice that there are slow learners in your group, it's good practice to not focus your attention or the group's attention towards them. It's also good practice to avoid asking them directly one of your questions.
Sylvia, what section of the template are you doing now? Oh, you're already behind. What do you think about column B?
Have you ever met those participants who always seem to disagree with everyone?
They're the contradictors.
Okay, so we agreed that the Alliance will conduct a bay-wide patrolling operation.
You know what? I don't think this is going to work. We've tried this so many times, but nobody really commits to it. I'm Conrad Contrabida. This is too bright.
Sorry, sir, but this won't take long. We really need the lights, so you will look good on video. Can you move a little bit to the left?
Okay, but you know what? We shouldn't be spending too much time on these little things. Can we start now?
Yes, sir. Just a little more to the left.
No.
Contradictors always want to be right and impose their ideas on others. How do you deal with those kind of people?
Let's see what strategy Jappy used to deal with a contradictor.
So, Conrad, what you're saying is, in your experience, a bay-wide patrolling operation does not work. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. What do you think is the best way to address this? But this question goes for everybody.
What did you think of this scenario, Andrew?
I think what Jappy did first was paraphrase the contradictor's ideas, then he asked some probing questions to dig deeper into the issues that he was raising.
Jappy showed the group that everyone's ideas are valued, even when they disagree with the opinion of others.
He also invited the group to weigh in on the issues being raised.
That's right. Jappy developed the contradictor's contributions in such a way that it helped the group's progress. When contradictors are in the room, always remember that they have the right to think differently, but just avoid assuming a moralistic air or going on a one-on-one confrontation with them.
Conrad, instead of looking at things that doesn't work, why don't you look for solutions?
Okay, so we just talked about the common types of potentially problematic participants. The chatterbox, the silent type, the know-all, the slow learner, and the contradictor.
How do you feel now that we've talked about them?
I definitely feel more confident now. It really helps that there's simple and effective ways to deal with potentially problematic participants.
Yeah, it's the facilitator's responsibility to appropriately respond to any disruptive behavior and make sure that discussions are still on a positive note and ensure that they're always on track. Remember, potentially problematic participants are not our enemies. If we actually know why they behave the way they do and how to respond to them appropriately, they can become our greatest allies.